Hello and welcome to our Sunday night devotion. I mean, even before the coronavirus, let's be honest, life is stressful and the coronavirus has added a whole other level to that. Tonight, for our devotion, I'm going to give you just a couple of suggestions on how maybe you can step away from some of those frustrations and stresses in life. They're just small things, but I think if you practice these, make them a habit, it's going to help you in a big way. So I hope that you enjoy. Let me ask you a question. When's the last time you felt carefree or lighthearted? I want to talk tonight about something called benevolent detachment. Benevolent detachment. I'm reading a book right now by John Eldredge, and the title of the book is Getting My Life Back. And each chapter, he's giving these little suggestions of ways that you can kind of get back to not only the person that you want to be, but you can live out the life that most likely God is calling you to live out to the best of your ability. And so benevolent detachment is the one that he was talking about this week. And he asks that question, when do you feel lighthearted and carefree? Do you have the ability in your own best interest to detach from those things? And so this is a very scriptural idea. We tell our kids that if we don't say it and we don't do it, then you probably shouldn't say it or do it. And then if you flip that around, it's the same. If we say it and we do it, you probably should be doing these things. And so that's tough to live up to as a parent sometimes because our kids are always watching. But the same idea is true for Jesus Christ. The person of Jesus Christ, if he didn't say it and he didn't do it, we probably shouldn't say and do those things either. But if he does something, especially repeatedly, we ought to focus in on that and learn about why he would do such a thing. Now we know that the Bible encourages us to be still and know that he is God. But Jesus lives that out. Jesus was extremely popular. Crowds were following him, wanting to hear him speak, wanting to see him perform miracles. And the Bible says, and this was a routine thing that he would do, just out of nowhere. It says that he would withdraw and go to a solitary place. He would withdraw from people. And it's this idea of benevolent detachment. Even Jesus Christ recognized that he needed some moments in his life where he just withdrew. He just detached himself from the routine, from the busyness, from the crazy and the hectic and all the chaos in your life and the stress, all the stress. Just detach from those things. I wonder what that looks like for you and how you're able to practice that and live that out in your life. On a big scale, for me, and this is not something that you can do often, but every now and then, about once a year, I like to go on a hike, and that's why we're down here. All my hiking gear is behind me. I get my hiking gear, and I go. And when I'm out on the trail, I don't get much cell reception. I can't respond quickly. I am completely detached for 2, 3, maybe even 4 days in a row. And hiking the Appalachian Trail might be the most physically demanding thing that I do in a year, but mentally, it's the most refreshing thing that I can do because it's benevolent detachment. Now, we can't all just gather up our gear and go on a week-long hike every week. Obviously, where we live in the real world, we have to find ways to practice this on a much smaller scale so that we can get through the day. And here's what I think that looks like. There's 2 things that I want to suggest to you. The first is that throughout your day, you might need to have a 1-minute pause. Very simple. And you might even think, well, that's not going to make a difference. But I'm telling you, a 1-minute pause could change the way you argue with your spouse. It could change the tension in that meeting at work. It could change the way you respond to people. It could change so many things. When you get to work, sit in your car for a minute. Just pray and just pause in that silence. If you're about to have a tense meeting at your job, just shut the door and take 60 seconds and pray and be still and be silent and detach yourself just for one minute. This happened to me the other day. I was having lunch with somebody in the office, and I had received a piece of mail that was extremely stressful to me. And rather than me detaching from that, taking 60 seconds and detaching from that, it ruined my entire lunch. I mean, I just could not focus on the person that I was with. I couldn't focus on that time together because I was so attached to the stresses of my job in that moment. If I would have taken 60 seconds and said, just please excuse me, I'll be right back, and just taken 60 seconds, it could have changed everything. Folks, this 1 minute pause is something that you can do. Something else that I want to encourage you is when you get home from work or at some point in the evening, maybe before dinner or right after dinner, I want to encourage you to set your phones aside and get with your family or your spouse, and you can share, there's some things that are on my mind. I'm just going to air those out very quickly, and then I'm just going to let them go. Just let them go. You don't need to worry about those for the rest of the night. Just let them go, and once you do, allow yourself to detach from those things and fully focus on what is most important. So benevolent detachment. Obviously, vacations and hikes and these long getaways are great, but on a smaller scale where we live each and every day, just take a 1 minute pause. I want you to try that this week. And this week, sometime in the evening, be very intentional about setting those things from work or the stresses from family, whatever it might be, setting those things aside, detaching from those things so that you can be fully present with the people who are most important. Well, I hope that you've enjoyed this. It would mean the world to me if you would share this and spread the news about what God is doing in your life and within our church. I love you guys. God bless.